Hi there and welcome. These are your handover videos for your Swift Wrenbury FB. These are a basic walkthrough on how to set up and operate the caravan as if you were coming on or off site. So starting off first, we have your black hitch head here with black lever, which you have to have pulled up to then allow you to wind down the jockey wheel onto the tow ball. What will happen, that black handle will snap down, push up that red button and expose a green ring. You then have your breakaway cable here, which has to be put through the eye point if you have one. If not, wrap it around the tow bar. You have your handbrake. To disengage, you press down, and to engage, you press up. Now they can come up with a fair bit of force, so make sure that your face isn't in the way. You then have 13-pin electric, so if you do have 7-pin adaptation whilst towing, make sure to bring yourself an adapter. However, you may lose a couple of functions, such as ALCO ATC. 2 points either side and 2 points at the back, you have inserts for your legs. Now the caravan itself comes with a leg winder, or you can get yourself a 19mm drill bit and a power drill just to make it that bit quicker. Do not attempt to jack up or level the caravan using your legs, they are simply used for stabilisation. You then have a gas bottle here. This is our test gas bottle. Now I'd always recommend using propane over butane just because it has a better performance throughout winter. Attached to it is a black gas hose. Now this particular one is dated 2025. Black gas hoses will run for 5 years. Now this connects onto this regulator here. You hand tighten that as much as you physically can and then just nip it up using a spanner. Don't over tighten it as there is a washer inside and it can cause it to crack and break, leading to the gas leaking out. However, once both sides are firmly connected, twist the gas bottle in the positive or open direction. Coming along this side, first up, we have your plug-in for your water. Now we're not running water through today just due to the temperatures. However, the water pump pushes into here, then you press in on the trigger to remove it. You then have your flue here. Don't have to do anything with this except make sure it's nice, clean and tidy. This will allow clean air to get into the boiler when operated on gas. Then you have your battery locker just behind the axle. Not a leisure battery fitted on this example, however if you wanted to fit one, you either use a 12 or 13mm spanner and just tighten it up. Then you have your plug-in for your mains just here. Mains plugs in nice and easy, and you've got a little cap here to attach it. And then you also have your point for your motometer behind it. Then lastly, we have your toilet function. So first up, you have 2 points where your wastewater is going to come out of. You'll need some 28.5mm waste pipe to then feed into a waste master that you can empty out at the appropriate point on site. Then we have these 2 points here, so let's just open that up. This here is your cassette toilet. The cassette toilet itself, when you need to remove it, you press up on the orange handle, pull out like so. Now this handle does also extend out and up, so it can be used similar to a carry-on suitcase. Let's just put that back for a second. However, once you're at your emptying point on site, twist this orange head to the side, open up the cap like so. And what you want to do is tilt, and at the same time as tilting, continually pressing your vent button. Now, what I would recommend is opening up this part here, adding in some water after you've done so, giving it a bit of a shake, and again, tilting and venting. Then on this cap here, you have measurements in both imperial and metric. That is for your blue chemical. Blue chemical goes into there, back onto the cap, twist it to the side and push it in so the orange handle sits behind the white teeth. Then you have your flush tank here. The flush tank has a capacity of 12 litres, however you don't want to put any more than 10 in realistically, as it can overfill it. Now you can add a bit of pink chemical as well, which works as a bleach without being corrosive and makes it smell a bit nicer. Please do not put actual bleach inside of this compartment as it will corrode the plastic. Now you don't want to travel with either of these two full, so you've got a little bung here to drain off any remaining water inside the flush tank. The caravan itself will be fully drained off before you leave. Then just here we have your main control panel. So to turn this on, use this button on the side. It will then flash up to the home screen. So it tells you internal temperature of the caravan 16 degrees, external 11 degrees, humidity 93%, date, time and the amount of charge in the leisure battery. First up, you have your pump button. So you press in that button, a blue border would appear. You would have your water pump plugged in outside. Now for these, all you have to do is press in, then to remove it, press in the trigger and pull out. You have a plastic cap to go over the top of the acroll, so no nastiness gets in, and then you have the strainer at the bottom. Now it's crucial that that sits at the bottom of the barrel to allow the maximum potential of water to come through. As you can see though, they do have a tendency to curl up. My recommendation is to get some PVC piping or something similar to wrap around the bottom so it's always nice and straight. However, you'd press the pump button, you'd allow the water to flow through into the boiler, wait about 2 minutes, come over to your tap, open up on both cold and hot, and what you're looking for is a nice steady continuous stream. Next up on this panel you have your awning light, so press that in, yellow border appears, come to the outside and you can see awning light on just there. Next you have internal lights, so put them both on and then you have two different options. So you have dimmer 1 and dimmer 2. Dimmer 1 is towards the back, dimmer 2 is at the front. So you can see here I'm going to dim the lights. So there we go. So that's at 5 and then let's go back up. So it goes up and down in increments of 5, so that's 100. And to turn off the light, press in on the middle. Next we have the amount of power coming in. So right now it says 14.1 volts are coming from the leisure battery. However, there's not a battery on board, so that is the amount coming from the mains. Then the amount from solar, then from vehicle. Then it shows the AC current, where you can also set a limit for it. Next up, you have some settings. So these are your basic settings, such as time, date, day, screen brightness, screen timeout, so how long it takes between interaction before the screen dies off. Bluetooth pairing, key beep. Now what that means is when you press in, it's going to beep, and then a night mode. Then we have your radio. So next to here, inside here, you have your radio module, where you can plug in an aux through that point. You can also connect via Bluetooth, or you have the option of these modes. So off, FM, DAB, aux, or off again. Then standard to any sort of radio, you've got your presets, your tuning and your scanning, as well as your volume. Then additionally, you have some advanced settings. So if I press and hold down on this, I go to advanced settings. Now, we have set this to what we believe is the most user-friendly. So you can see here you have no tanks fitted or tank heaters. I wouldn't recommend putting on the fridge or the heater onto here, as it can cause them to trip out. Then to turn this off, press and hold in on that button. Then next to it, we have your Truma control panel. So you have a back button, you then have a dial, which is also a button as well. So I press in on the button and it goes to the main home screen. First up, I've got the caravan with the thermometer in. This is for the internal temperature that I desire. It goes up to a maximum of 30, and to select, I press in on the button. You can then see that the flame, gas bottle and fan speed has then appeared on the second row. Next, we have the water heat. So it's either off, eco, which will get it to 40 degrees, hot, which will get it to 60, or boost. Now boost will prioritize heating the water over heating the actual caravan. That lasts for about 30 minutes and then it will drop it down to eco afterwards. Next, we have your energy source. So we can either use gas, mixture of gas and 1 kilowatt, mixture of gas and 2 kilowatt, strictly electric with 1, or strictly electric with 2 kilowatts. So you've got the option of gas, mains, or a mixture of both. Then we have your fan speed. So eco, high or boost. Eco is nice and steady, high is a bit more vigorous, and boost is the same speed as high. However, it will time itself out after 30 minutes, prioritising heating the van over heating the actual water. However, if I do not have the heat on at all, and I go over to the fan, it's either off or vent. Now what vent does, it circulates the air across the caravan. So you'd have your windows open and it would just push through some nice clean air. All it's doing from them vents, pushing the air out. Then we have a timer at the bottom. So this allows you to start and stop when you'd like the heating and hot water to come on. You then have the correct time. Now, as I've done a reset on this panel, it's shown that it's 17 minutes past midnight. It's not. Just select the correct time. It is a 24-hour clock. And then you have some additional settings on the spanner. So offset, temperature, brightness, 12 or 24-hour clock, language, index and reset. I'm not going to run through that, as again, similar to this, we have set it to what we believe is the most user friendly. However, if you don't want this on at all, press and hold in. Turns itself off, no more heating. And then to show you on this, first always turn off your lights first, then press and hold in, and the caravan is now off. Now just here we have your toilet cassette. Lift this up, press the button, and then you can hear that motor. That motor is what will push around any water inside the system. Then to remove your waste, press away on the handle, pull it back towards you to shut it up. Then when the cassette is full, there'll be a red light under there telling you to empty. Then underneath your right hand side seat, you have first here your flow jets, which will pull through the water to the boiler. You then have this yellow drain valve. When it's facing to the upright position, that is in drain mode. Flick it over to horizontal, and that will allow the flow of water to come through. You will collect the caravan with this in the upright position. November to March, have that up permanently unless you're actively using the caravan. This box on the side is your battery charger. You then also have your trips and your fuses, all your trips in the upright position and all your fuses in the correct position there as well. You can see heating and hot water, charger, both illuminated, showing that they're both working, and then reverse polarity there if you ever go abroad, and then a complete system shutdown button just there. Then you have your boiler just here, which you can pull back the panel if you ever need to do a reset. Then we have your fridge operation just here. So press and hold in on this button, it will flash up and then go to its most recent memory, which in this case is mains. You can then switch the mode by pressing in this button. So I'll press it once and it goes to auto. Auto chooses what the fridge thinks is the best source to use. Flick it again, it's going to go over to that battery symbol. Now that is representative of 13-pin electric, not your leisure battery. So when I press it, you can see it begins to flash up and beep. So we'll press it again and it goes over to gas. Now for gas, you will gradually hear it tick in. Then once it's finished ticking, that means it's then lit. However, my recommendation is to check through all of your hob, grill and oven to make sure that it's all operating and the gas is coming through correctly. When the fridge is on, there is blue lights inside. Then when we turn it off, press and hold in. It's off. It is then no light inside. You then have this button on the side, which is the amount of power coming to the fridge. So 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. 5 being the most powerful, so it is going to chill the fridge the quickest. However, even on full capacity, it does take around 4 hours for it to fully chill. Then here we have your hob, grill and oven. So all of this operates on gas. All you have to do, press in the dial, twist it to the side and press in the igniter. Now it may be a case that if you haven't used the caravan on a little bit of time, it will light and then cut off. That is natural. That is the gas making its way through the system. So just relight it and then you can go from there. This is what it looks like when they're all lit. As you can see here, all the burners nice and lit. Turn it off, back to the central position. And it's the same concept for the grill. So turn that, press it to the side and ignite. Might just take a second to come through and then you can see both sides nice and lit. And then finally, you have the oven as well. So press it in, twist to the side. Main thing with this, make sure that the rack itself isn't impeding on the clicker, as then it won't be able to light properly. Only other real thing to note, you need to travel with this glass sheet down, but don't put it down until all of these are nice and cold. And if you are travelling with a gas bottle, you can have it so it's connected to the regulator, but make sure the bottle itself is off.